With the Pokemon Company officially announcing Scarlet and Violet to be releasing on March 31st, there's one thing that we are concerned about in the Pokemon TCG, and that is a slow start to the Generation 9 sets. We're going to talk about how we can avoid that. What's going on, everyone? Next Level TCG is here, and we're back talking about Scarlet and Violet coming soon to a Pokemon shop near you. Are you excited, Nate?
I'm super excited for this set. A lot more excited than I was when we first started hearing some leaks about this set. They've gotten a lot of things that are changing in that. So it's getting me pretty hyped. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, huge. And if you're not sure about all the changes coming to the Generation 9 Pokemon TCG sets, go check out the video we posted yesterday where we review all of the massive, huge changes coming to English printed cards. A lot of them are really fantastic. I think they made a lot of great moves. So go check out that video if you want those details. But Pokemon TCG is notorious for every time they start a new generation and a new era of cards, they tend to do a little bit of a slow start because they want to focus on mechanics, the new style of cards. In this case, we're getting EX cards, which is almost like a mishmash between the two types of EXs. We're getting the visual aspects of the X and Y EX, but the playing aspect of the original EX cards from about 15 years ago. So it's a really cool mismatch, but I'm concerned that in this new era where we have all of these trainer galleries and alternate arts and all these really cool chase cards, gold, rainbow, many different kinds of rarities, that they might simplify it a little bit too much and only give us just maybe some standard EXs or full art EXs coming in Generation 9. Nate, what are your thoughts on potentially having a slow start in Pokemon?
Yeah. Well, if we look back, just into the last era, the Sword and Shield era, and we look at the first few sets, Sword and Shield base, Rebel Clash, Darkness Ablaze, even really into Vivid Voltage there as well. It definitely was a slow start for the collectors. There weren't a lot of, massive chase cards. Maybe when the set first came out, it kind of felt like that. But look back at those sets now and you'll see, there just weren't, those chases that we had at the end of the era. It definitely, when we're going to be coming out of this era with Crown Zenith, which blows my mind, what it looks like that set's going to look like.
It looks amazing.
It looks absolutely amazing. So if we're going 1,000 miles an hour with Crown Zenith here and they just slam the brakes on us, I definitely foresee some issues. Getting the Scarlet and Violet sets, at least the early sets, off the shelf. But yeah. Then again, we're in a different time than we were back when the Sword and Shield era first came out. I feel like there's a lot more hype now than there was back then. So I think that's going to play in favor to the Pokemon Company. Just so many more fans out there right now for it. I think ultimately this new want to call it Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield. I know. I keep doing that too. Scarlet I'll even be typing it out and I'll be like SWSH and I'm shoot, I got it.
Exactly. It's just SV now. I think, I think, the Pokemon Company, they're smart, right? They know what they're doing. And I think that they know if they just take out, all the different rarities that we had and everything like that, and just simply, have hollows, EX, regular EX cards like our V cards and like EX full arts, I think that they know that that's just not enough anymore. And with some of those changes that we talked about in yesterday's video, I think that's actually more apparent now that we're seeing that they're making these changes that, we've really all been asking for here.
I definitely think they've been listening to our podcast and took a lot of the stuff that we had to say and added it to the new sets.
Yeah,
it really feels that way, doesn't it, man?
It does. It does sometimes.
It's so strange. Like, the only reason how I know it's not true is because was probably planned for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
And we have so many followers and so many people watch these videos. Oh, yeah. We're just so popular.
Pokemon Company's like, those next level guys over there.
They really are. Let's take Pokemon to the next level too, guys. But yeah, so I'm completely with you. But the one thing that kind of makes me wonder, are they really going to have a super slow start for these standard sets? Is we know that the trainer gallery is gone, right? I believe you mentioned to me right before we started recording that Silver Tempest, the booklet mentions that this is the end of the trainer gallery and the Pokemon TCG, and inside Crown Zenith, we're getting the Galarian gallery, which I consider more to be like a shiny vault subset within the special set as opposed to a new thing that we're getting. Obviously, it wouldn't be called the Galarian gallery because we're in the Paldea region now, but there's a whole subset of cards that we are not getting. Now, granted, there still is going to be a lot of information that we don't have about Scarlet and Violet so far, even on top of all the major changes that we did get announced over on websites like PokeGuardian and PokeBeach. Go check those out in the video we posted yesterday. But I'm leaning towards them not even having a subset whatsoever. Nothing inside of that, that what we know as the uncommon slot or the reverse slot, because they're changing the way the packs are set up. They're doing 3 foil cards, and I think they had a very interesting term when they said foil, right? They didn't say holographic rare. They didn't say ultra rare. They didn't say anything like that. They said that there's an opportunity that every pack is going to have 3 foil cards. So a part of me is thinking, hey man, they really could be going like 1 reverse, 1 holo, and 1 ultra rare in every single pack for all that we know. We have no clue what we could be looking at. Which is very interesting to find out in the next couple of months that we're going to be getting leaks and things like that. But with the trainer gallery going away, are you fearful that they may not have enough pulls? Do you think they're relying too much on this foil, right? Too much of this, a holo in every pack. Too much of the going to be a reverse and a holo in every pack. Maybe 2 holos, 2 reverses. Really taking up the slot of where we would find those trainer galleries, which are fantastic artworks. Like, what do you think that's going to look like, the whole 3 foil thing? And do you think it's going to be a boost for them in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's their main idea behind it. Because you're right. We haven't heard about every single card that's coming in this set yet. We don't know, with the Galarian gallery, trainer gallery going away, that definitely leaves a sizable gap in what we're looking for here in these packs. So I definitely think that is their move to kind of, make us feel a little bit better about not as many, bangers to pull out of the packs. Well, there's not as many top cards, but you're going to get 3 foil cards or better in every pack. I'm not a big fan of them using foil because that just immediately makes me think MJ Holding Company, which we did a video last week on. That's plastered all over their stuff, foil card or whatever. And it makes me think that. But then again, I want to think that that the Pokemon Company is better than that. And, they really do mean, like a holo rare or better. But I am feeling that, they said foil, so they could include some reverses in there. Yeah. Or something different. Yeah, exactly. I think, maybe the terrestrialized, Pokemon could be seen as a subset.
That would be cool.
In these sets.
I agree, but I think they're going to stick that in the special set. I think we're going to get like a Terra Vault, like the Shiny Vault.
Terra Vault. That sounds neat.
I think in my opinions, I think, a good move for them would to have the very first special set for the Scarlet and Violet era be very like Shining Fates and Hidden Fates, but have a terrestrialization vault, a terrestrialized vault, where there's a 60 card subset of Terra Pokemon, baby Terras, and then full art Terras as well. Maybe even full art shiny Terras, like all kinds of different options they could have. That would be really, really cool. But it could be a subset as well, and inside of the regular standard sets. I could see that.
Well, I like what you're saying though about that. I really feel like, especially after Shining Fates and kind of how lackluster of a set that was, I think it would be beneficial for them to get away from shinies a little bit, not completely, because it's always fun.
I agree.
To be able to pull a shiny. But yeah, to do,
put the brakes
kind of like a Hidden Fates or a Shining Fates, but, with a Terra Vault, that makes the most sense to me right now, for sure.
Yeah. I love what you said about Shining Fates kind of falling flat. And the reason why I think they fell flat to kind of segue into my next point here, is I'm a little bit worried about the Pokemon they selected to be the anchors of the new Scarlet and Violet base set, and most likely even what's going to be the secondary set as well, which obviously we have no information, but the second set. But when you look at the pack arts for the new Scarlet and Violet base set coming out, you have Miraidon, Co-Rhydon, which was 100% expected. No surprise there, and no argument for me whatsoever. Fantastic, great choices. And they went with Gyarados. There's a Terra Gyarados as the third pack art here, which makes me wonder, is Gyarados a powerful, strong enough linchpin anchor Pokemon to carry a set, right? Because what we tend to notice is they give us one really popular Pokemon in every set as like the anchor, right? Lugia and Silver Tempest, Giratina and Lost Origins, Charizard and Arceus and Brilliant Stars, Rayquaza and Evolving Skies along with the evolutions. Like there's always this anchor with every single set. And we can already see kind of what they chose here was the legendaries, which is fine. But Gyarados, because you got to have that Kanto anchor. You just do. I know people are sick of it and they don't want to talk about it anymore. But you need that popular Kanto anchor, that Charizard, the Blastoise, the Eevee, the Pikachu. Like, you need these recognizable, and Sword and Shield base went with Snorlax, right? And I would put Snorlax as one of the more popular Kanto Pokemon, like, for sure, more popular Pokemon in all of, the Pokemon everything, right? I feel like I said the word Pokemon so many times. But I guess we're a Pokemon channel. I don't know if Gyarados carries enough weight, and the other pack art is the 3 baby starters, which leads me to believe that they're not going to be giving us EXs of the starters in this set, which means they'll probably be in the second set, similar to Sword and Shield, but they're going to show off the new borders for the baby shinies, which we have images of and all that stuff, and then maybe the new holographics shown off as well. But do you think like Gyarados and Arcanine are strong enough anchors for an entire set, like the first set to kick off Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah, well, you asked the wrong person that question, because of course if you say Arcanine, my answer is yes. But no, because he didn't get a pack art. So yeah, as you're talking there, I was kind of thinking back, the last set that we really had Gyarados as an anchor would have been, and I always mix these two up, either Breakpoint or Breakthrough.
Yep, Breakpoint. Breakthrough is Mewtwo.
Mewtwo, right. Okay, so yeah, Breakpoint, had some fantastic Gyarados cards in there. I think that's the one with the shiny gold border and the red shiny Gyarados.
Yes, fantastic. I love those cards so much. They're so good.
Yeah, you did them on your Gyarados video, exactly. But when you look back at, kind of how that set has done over time, it's definitely not one of the most popular sets. It's still pretty affordable, like per pack if you're trying to buy packs. Last time I looked at that era, singles in that were pretty affordable as well, especially those Gyarados ones that were in your video. So it that leads me to believe that no, Gyarados isn't strong enough to be the anchor of the set. When you add them in, with, I was going to say Evolving Skies, but there was just so much in there. If there wasn't all the evolutions, I guarantee you Gyarados would have done better in that set. We should have had an alt art for him in that set, never did.
They should have put Gyarados just like in Chilling Reign or something like that as an anchor. Would have been better.
Yeah, the different set. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But yeah, I just, unfortunately, I don't think, I know he's a huge fan favorite, right? He's one of my favorite Kanto Pokemon for sure.
Love him.
But, when you ask the question, is he strong enough to carry that whole set? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Even with Arcanine right there helping him out, I don't think it's going to happen.
So, and that was kind of what I want to talk about, right? So now that we've talked about potentially some downfalls coming in the early onset, so like what would we do to change a slow start, right? First of all, actually, I just glanced over this. Crown Zenith, the new release schedule for Crown Zenith being over 6 months, I believe kind of signifies that we're going to have a slow start. And they're using the slow release of Crown Zenith to make up for maybe collectors not wanting Scarlet and Violet base in the second set so much, because we can always look forward to, okay, another release of Crown Zenith is coming, another release of Crown Zenith is coming, and those are going to be the chases for the collectors, and then the players are going to be soaking up all the Scarlet and Violet base because the mechanics are going to change, the meta's going to change, they're going to want to be ripping packs, this is the first time that it almost feels like they might be differentiating players and collectors as a whole. Does it kind of feel that way to you with the Crown Zenith long release schedule and that sort of a thing? Like they're almost making up for it.
Oh, yeah. I totally believe that. Because you're right. I mean, Crown Zenith is the collector's set, and they can't afford to lose all those collectors for 2 or 3 sets, which is months. 4 or 5 months or so, 2 or 3 sets there.
Yeah.
And that's a long time in the business world to not be making that money that you're used to be making. So yeah, I totally think that's 100% why they're doing that. And they're not giving us everything Crown Zenith right off the bat. On the Crown Zenith note, I also hope that means that the quality is going to be a little bit better on that set. Just because they're not rushing everything out all at once.
I do wonder if that's the point. Like, I wonder if that's the reason why they're doing. One of the reasons, obviously, they have monetary reasons. I'm sure is the main qualifier for why they're doing this. But I do wonder if the printing is going to improve over a 6-month release schedule as opposed to sticking it all out immediately like they did the Charizard UPC. Hopefully, we can dream. But now let's talk about how we would combat a slow start, right? So what I would do is I would just make sure that on the front end of Scarlet and Violet, we are loading some of the less used fan favorite Pokemon from the Sword and Shield era in the first couple of sets, right? Yeah. I would almost consider Gyarados fine. I'm fine with the Gyarados, but I don't think it's enough because he really was an undervalued Pokemon in the Sword and Shield era by pretty much only being involved in the Evolving Skies lineup where it didn't even take top 5, 6, 7th place. All the evolutions were ahead of it. Rayquaza was ahead of it, and even the Dragonite got an alternate art, which was ahead of it as well. Basically an afterthought, right? So I'm fine Gyarados getting a spotlight here. Definitely a powerful fan favorite Pokemon, but you gotta throw some other beasts in there. And of course, there's still more things that we haven't learned yet, so we could get more information and more of these Pokemon out there. But I would throw a couple of things inside Scarlet and Violet base. I would give us some really awesome Blastoise cards. Yeah. Keep Gyarados. Put Blastoise in there. Blastoise was completely overshadowed in Scarlet and Violet. It got the Radiant. Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. It got the Radiant card, and then it got the VMAX battle box, and that's all that it got, which was absolutely insane to me. So I would give Blastoise some massive love here, and then you can almost look for another fan favorite that didn't get almost anything, maybe like a Greninja. Right now, the problem with that is that I just chose 3 water Pokemon. I don't even like water Pokemon that much. It just kind of happened that way. But like a Greninja, right? And give some massive love to, I think Mewtwo is overshadowed as well. Them holding them for the crappy ass Pokemon Go set really frustrated me as a Mewtwo fan. But throw Mewtwo in there, Blastoise, Greninja. Give us some really big names to start Scarlet and Violet off strong. And same thing with the second set when you're focused on those starters. Let's go back. What have people been asking for? Let's go back and give them the 3 Johto starters, right? Let's give them the Typhlosion, Feraligatr, and Meganium EX cards. Or if you really want to connect the dots, maybe to the X and Y era, give us all 3 of those X and Y era starters right here, especially with all the rumors of, Paldea potentially being connected to Kalos and all that kind of stuff. It could be really, really cool. Just finding some starters to love in there, throw them in there. We haven't seen a good Snorlax card since Sword and Shield base, really. You can do that as well. So many different fan favorites. I think that's the number one way to combat a slow start for the collectors anyway, because the players are going to love this set regardless. For the collectors, you got to throw some big name fan favorite Pokemons in there that people are going to want. That's the number one way that I would combat this. What would you do?
Yeah, well, I got to say, I love those ideas and 100% agree with you on bringing in some of the fan favorite Pokemon that literally got no love. Blastoise is the perfect example. So I 100% agree with you on that. Some other things I would do as well is, and we did talk about this a little bit, I really don't think they can be successful doing a full stop on, what we know as a trainer gallery today. So somehow including that in, don't call it a trainer gallery. Obviously, it's not a Galarian gallery anymore, Paldea gallery or something, whatever, just name it that. But I really do think that is what differentiates the good sets in the Sword and Shield era and kind of just the mediocre sets. And again, to put a full stop to that, I think would turn off a lot of people. So I think having some sort of gallery like that would be good. And then I think the full arts, right? I think the full arts really need to change. So the full arts that we have right now, beautiful cards, some of the most beautiful cards in the set, but we've had full arts for so long, and they've not changed too much until we really got the trainer gallery, right? And what I'm thinking about here right now is like the trainer gallery Vs. So when we get a V full art or an EX full art, right?
Those are awesome.
Instead of making it just a full art with, just the Pokemon on it, go ahead and make it like the trainer gallery Vs, where you got the trainer in there, you got the Pokemon in there, and then that's considered the full art right now. It's not, part of the gallery or something like that. That's full arts. So I think stepping up that full art game would be awesome. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that really love full arts and are super happy that they can get them at a decent price because they're really not expensive. But I think bumping that up would be awesome. And then one last thing that I am kind of getting the idea from V-Star Universe and from Crown Zenith are the kind of the gold alternate arts. So the gold cards are another thing that, I think we got when did we start to get gold cards? Was it X and Y, or was it
Sun and Moon? It was Sun and Moon.
So Sun and Moon.
Yeah. We got the Zekrom, we got the Zekrom and the Reshiram, and then in Dragon Majesty we got the Necrozma.
Yeah, that's right. So, I feel like gold cards, they've gotten a little bit better in the Sword and Shield era, a little bit more like depth to them, but I've always felt like they've felt, pretty flat. And then seeing those gold like alternate art cards in V-Star Universe and Crown Zenith coming out, I think that would just be another way to kind of amplify those cards and bring those cards back into, the spotlight. I feel like, they're hard to pull. They're not all super easy to pull or anything like that, but it's just people aren't as excited about them anymore because it's, you kind of know what to expect on a gold card.
I like the idea of mixing them together. I think that's awesome. I think like, hey, you sit back and you go, well, how do you make something better than an alternate art, right? And I think you're exactly right. The way to do that is to do a gold alternate art or, the EX alternate art as opposed to like V-Stars. Like it really took those artworks to the next level. And I love your idea of just improving the alternate arts really to make them look like the trainer gallery Vs. To this day, one of my favorite artworks in the history of Pokemon is the Zacian and Hop up on the pedestal, like sitting there. Like it is amazing. And I don't even like Zacian that much, but the artwork is just so good.
That's a good one. One of my favorite. I got it sitting over here somewhere.
It's so good.
That's one I'm keeping for sure.
Yes, I love it. It was my chase in the Japanese. When I started opening that, I pulled it. I was super happy. But I would love to see those types of cards be more rare. Because in the trainer gallery, they're not that rare, which is cool. Like it's good to have, but I would totally love seeing full arts get a much better look than just here is a blue background for Gyarados on his full art card, give us that, that secret rare vibe, give us that full art Gyarados with Gyarados and Magikarp in it as well. Maybe a Piplup hanging out at the bottom, those types of things. Love it, love it. Fantastic ideas. Mixing that with some fan favorite Pokemon, and you have a super successful couple of sets coming in Scarlet and Violet and beyond. So I really don't want to see them take some lumps with this demand. I don't want to see the demand come down because the set seems boring, and I think they could. It is something that they should be worried about right now with these changes.
I agree.
But ultimately, I think it's exciting changes. Make sure you guys go check out our video yesterday again about the changes that we talked about. And way more information to come. There's going to be a lot more stuff from Scarlet and Violet coming out, a lot more news, a lot more leaks, all kind of stuff. So stay tuned for those if you're interested. Here on Next Level TCG, we post Pokemon card content at least 5 to 6 times per week here on the channel. So if you like that, drop a sub, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, hit that like button as well. Comment below your thoughts on if we're going to have a slow start in the Scarlet and Violet era or is Crown Zenith going to anchor it strong enough? Let us know what you guys think is coming down the pipeline. You got one more thing to say, Nate?
I don't this time around, but other than that, if you want to level up, you got to be kind and be yourself.
That's right.